Devy Planet, welcome to another episode of the Devy Game Day. I am SC Romero with my co-host from our Devy Degen show on Monday, Tom Harvey at Tom Harvey Sports. Tommy, how are you doing today?
Oh man, doing all right. Just watching this chick trying to kick this field goal on game day. First attempt didn't even get off the ground. I think they're going
Oh,
to give her another shot.
someone's just made it. Did she just
Oh
make it?
no, they, she, they allowed Kurt to throw it to the goalpost.
Oh, nice. What we're doing here today is we're talking top 25 matchups and players you need to watch. We're going to let the intro drop and we'll get right into that.
Welcome to the Devy Planet. The Devy Planet. The Devy Planet.
Devy Planet, again, I am SC Romero, my co-host from Devy DJs, Tom Harvey at Tom Harvey Sports. And it looks like Gabby did make, he got 300,000. So
$300,000 off the Kirk Herbstreit throw to the goalpost.
there you go. Hey, that's good, man. You love to see it with players, people like that, like, hey, we just want to make sure. She's an engineering degree, so definitely could use that, I'm sure. I'll pay for that tuition there. But
Problem is she goes to Bama, so
that's true. And we are going to talk about how they're going to lose today. But before we get into Bama and what they're going to lose, let's get to top 25 matchups. First is Kentucky versus Georgia, number 12. Tom Harvey, I just want to ask you, because you've been mentioning Gunnar Stockton as a Devy asset. And is he someone that needs to be like the top 5 of our Devy quarterbacks coming out this next year?
I don't know about top 5. Possibly close to it. I mean, I think he probably comes back for his senior year anyways, though. So
Okay.
I don't think he necessarily comes out this season.
Okay, fair. Yeah, he saw that this is his first year fully starting, so, he definitely would benefit coming back, especially if Georgia's shaky. They can have some big players. We know some of their players will come back as well, so it'll be nice to see what he does there. But he does have some good throwing motions. He's good against Kentucky today, against Georgia's number 12. They lost last week against Alabama. So it'll be nice to see what he could do. He was so coming out as a freshman, has the size where he's like 6'4", 6'5", good arm. He's not as mobile. He's not necessarily a dual threat quarterback by any means, but he could do what he needs to do just to get the job done for a team there. Speaking of Georgia, though, the running backs, before the season started, I would say Nate Frazier's is Devy RB1. Looks like Chauncey Bowens is giving him a run for his money, though, this year. Who are you starting when it comes to Chauncey Bowens and Nate Frazier?
In CFF and C2C, I'm starting Bowens. He's been the more explosive, more productive player there. Matter of fact, he outcarried Frazier last week. I think 12-4.
Mm-hmm.
Went over 100, had 100+ yards last week against Alabama.
Right.
He looks like the more efficient running back right now.
For sure. And we're joined today by JT at JT Orange. How you doing, my guy?
Hey guys, sorry I'm a little late. Had flag football practice this morning. Just got done. So thanks for having me back.
Yes, sir. No, welcome in. I'm glad you're teaching the youth of the game that we love. So that's always great. You gotta start flag football, and then you can move up to pads if you wish to do that as well.
Yeah, we have a tackle team, but I always tell my kids that even are like the linemen. I'm like, go out for flag because there's a chance to run routes, do some different stuff. Where you don't have to block. So it's great. You guys were you guys just talking about Georgia?
Yeah.
All right, answer me this, because I just updated my Devy rankings last night. What are we doing with Nate Frazier and Devy? Like, is he a dropper for you guys? I mean, is he a hold kind of where he's at? Because there's some other running backs that are starting to creep up on me. I'm like, ooh, it's like I kind of felt dirty putting him ahead of Nate Frazier. Now I'm like, I kind of feel like I might have to. What do you guys' thoughts on Frazier Devy wise?
Devy wise, I still think he's an asset.
Definitely an asset.
I don't know if I still have him top 5, but Georgia kind of has this tendency to kind of split the load with their running backs. I've never been extremely high on players going on offensive players going to Georgia just because they're not going to get the volume you're wanting to see from them. Wide receivers, running backs, mainly because they don't really they like to spread the ball around too much. So I do think Frazier has definite potential, but he's just not going to get the type of volume you want to see there while he's at Georgia.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily dropping him in. You could drop him in ranks, but I wouldn't say drop him overall. You're right. I'm not dropping him for someone else, but I definitely understand dropping him. But you also have to think, though, Georgia produces running backs. They have a good system there developing their running backs. So either way, he's still going to be a good asset. He, again, like what Tommy's alluded to, though, he might just not be getting the volume you're wanting for that. But still, he is a great asset to hold, I believe, because there is opportunity there for him as well.
Yeah, I have him as RB6 or RB7 right now. So
in overall,
maybe? Yeah, overall,
yeah. Now with that though, I mean, I think both of them. I think Chauncey Billups, you definitely want to pick him up. I think there's some opportunity there, especially what he's doing. So Obi likes to see, and we've seen 1-2 punches from Georgia before, right? So it could just be Chauncey Billups is the hot hand. Let's play him, give him some more opportunity. But down the stretch, you could see more Nate Frazier going in there as well. It should still be a good team. I'm not necessarily scared about his opportunity. As I mentioned before, I kind of compared to like a Sony Michel when he was there, just a solid runner. Not necessarily the fastest one, but he could definitely, move and get through the tackles and be a good pass catcher if you need him as well. Our next game here, though, Iowa State, number 14 versus Cincinnati. We have Rocco Beck or Brendan Sorsby. I think I know where Tom's at. So JT, I'll ask you, Rocco Beck or Brendan Sorsby, who would you rather have right now, Debbie?
Sorry, did you throw that to me? I was reading. Sorry, so I was reading something. I told you lost me. My bad. Totally my fault.
No, you're good. Yeah, Rocco Beck or Brendan Sorsby, as we have Iowa State number 14 versus Cincinnati.
I would go Beck here. I know since he's been a little bit better, but I'm not totally sold on them. I'm probably going back. I like Iowa State still. I know he hasn't maybe got off the start we were hoping for, but I still think I'm going with him.
Tommy, let us know why you're picking Sorsby.
Yeah, Sorsby's always productive, man. Matter of fact, he's one of the fast risers for the NFL draft for this next coming season. And even if he doesn't come out, he could push for QB1 in that 2027 class. He's got the prototypical size. He's got great mobility. He's got a huge arm. He has everything that the NFL looks for. He's got that kind of it factor. I think he's going to be one of the fastest rising guys going into draft season.
QB1 of 2027. This is a class that we're talking about. We're gonna have Rayola. We're gonna have Arch Manning. We're probably gonna have Lenora Sellers. We're gonna maybe DJ Lab. We may stay another year. QB1 Sorsby. That's your warning. Be on the lookout for Brendan Sorsby there. Iowa State is undefeated, if I'm not mistaken. Where the other one lost to
Cincinnati lost to Nebraska the first game of the season.
Yeah, so Cincinnati don't look good. We talked about Sorsby on our show there, Tommy. Definitely some good things. Rocco Beck, like I like him. I think he's a safe player. I don't know if he's a starter in the NFL, but he's definitely a safe player. I think you could put him in. He could go out there and not make mistakes and just lead the team where you need it to lead. So there is opportunity there for him. But this will be an interesting matchup, because Iowa State, as I mentioned, is undefeated. Cincinnati's lost one. Sorsby looking better. Rocco Beck, again, just being the field general he needs to be for his team. So it'll be interesting to see how they just move forward and what they can do. Next one here, though, we got Wisconsin versus Michigan, number 20. And my question here is, Tommy, I'll ask you, at this point, would you take Justin Haynes over Jeremiah Love?
That's close. It's close. Haynes has looked really explosive, whereas Love is kind of I'm not going to say he's meandered a little bit, but he's not putting up the same type of numbers, and that could very well be due to the fact that Jadarian Price is getting more and more carries there at Notre Dame also. But Love is kind of, he hasn't looked as explosive as he did last year.
Right.
I'm not sure why. But Justice Haynes has looked fantastic. Contact balance, explosion, vision's been really nice. If he'd have shown this while he was at Alabama, he would be the Devy RB1, and he may be Devy RB1 now.
Right. What about you, JT? Justice Haynes, or are you still taking Jeremiah Love?
I'm still taking Love. Notre Dame has, been a little bit of a mess this year. They're playing Price a little more. I think they're trying to save Love a bit, because he did get banged up last year. So I think they're trying to keep from overworking him. I still think he's going to impress big time once we get to the combine and those type of things. So I still, for me, Devy wise, I still think Love. If you're playing CFF, man, Haynes has just been crushing it with those long runs. It's so hard to not take him in that format. Haynes is moving up for me.
Yeah.
Love is still 1, but Haynes is definitely pushing top 3 or 4 now. I think the first couple of weeks are like, oh, was it just one big run? Can he keep this up? And he looks better every week. So I think he's definitely a high riser as far as the running back pool is concerned.
No, that's fair. Haynes, I definitely think we could discuss him as top 3, if not top 2 in this class for running backs. And then, Jeremiah Love, as you mentioned before, consensus had him as the RB1. He started showing. I like your thought there if they're trying to hold him, because he did get banged up in the playoffs last year. So maybe try to get it. Last week he had 4 touchdowns, but they are also giving him less, right? Because you said Price is coming in making some big plays for them. That's good. You need running backs to, especially running backs to take the bulk of the carries, give them some breathing room, and now they finally have that. So maybe he does it. That's going to benefit him in the future and really help him in his draft stock as well, because once it comes to combine season, he's got opportunity there as well to just make some bigger plays there. So definitely some opportunity there for him to move forward. I like Haynes better. I think Love is probably the safer pick. Because Haynes, I mean, you can talk about any running back, but Haynes, I feel, is more a scheme fit. Like, he has to go to the right team to use it, where Love, I think, can just really kind of play wherever he needs to play to make it happen. So it'll be nice to see what goes out of them, because I think that's going to be a really good RB battle when it's all said and done by the end of the season, what we're choosing there. Number 22, Illinois versus Purdue. My question here is, because we just talked about Michigan, would you rather start Bryce Underwood or Luke Altmaier? JT, I'll ask you.
I'm an Illinois guy. Altmaier's playing phenomenal. Rushing, receiving, passing touchdown last week against USC. This game has been extremely close the last couple of years, even though it probably shouldn't have been. This Purdue always plays Illinois super, super tough. This one's a tough one if you're betting the spread. I think it's like 9.5 right now. I'm still on Illinois. I think they get it done. I like Altmaier, man. He's just playing super solid. He's not turning the ball over. So especially if you're in a league that is like pretty big turnover heavy, like -4 for a pick or something like that, he's the guy, because he's taking care of the football. So I like Altmaier a lot. This offense is getting it rolling. This used to be just nothing but grounded pound out of Illinois, and they have really loosened it, the reins this year. They're letting him do a lot more. The wide receiver core has been, to me, has been one of the bigger shocks in the Big Ten. Like the Illinois wide receiver core is so much better than people anticipated. And of course, it's all the guys that no one thought were going to start, but all the guys they thought were going to start this year and were going to be, assets, especially in fantasy. Those guys are on the bench. Their number 1 recruit just said he's redshirting and transferring last week, Malik Elzy. So this has been a really surprising group. Illinois is, continues to be, kind of a shocker of the rise. Obviously, that huge loss to Indiana kind of put them in their place a little bit, but I think this team is going to bounce back. They looked really good against USC. That game was super close, one on field goal, but I mean, they were up most of that game before USC kind of came back at the end. So I like Altmaier here. Still love Underwood for Devy asset wise. I still think he's worth a ton as far as trade capital. But if I'm playing a guy start sit this week, I'm going Altmaier over Underwood.
What about you, Tommy? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, individual game here. Especially for CFF purposes, going Altmaier. They're playing Purdue. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're playing Purdue. Michigan's playing Wisconsin. I would say Wisconsin probably has a little bit better defense than what Purdue has. So you'd be banking on Underwood's rushing ability over his passing right now, anyways.
Sure.
So I would go with I'd go with Altmaier here too.
Fair. Yeah, that'll be because CFF, that is something the game we're playing, right, and the matchups and everything. We'll all agree to Bryce Underwood over Altmaier and Devy.
Oh yeah, definitely
For him.
Absolutely,
but yeah, if we're playing the CFF matchup.
I like Altmaier a lot. For me, Devy wise, he seems like a guy that can make an NFL roster and be a nice backup, but he would need to get like injuries and some stuff happen, I think, for him to see the field. Now, could he be a competent 10, 12-year pro? I think he can be. Do I see him ever being like a team turning to him and being like, you're our guy, you're the starter? I don't know if I see that right now.
That's fair. So let's say a franchise with someone that's definitely going to be the longevity in the league and just hold it down. He's like one of those journeymen where he's just going to gain tons of knowledge and just be a great asset to a team, because when they bring in those younger quarterbacks, he's going to be that nice bridge, kind of like a Jimmy Garoppolo in a sense. He's not truly.
Yeah, I definitely think he's a guy that can start.
Right.
Yeah, he could start for you and probably win you some games at the NFL level. Unless something drastically changes, I just don't see a team turning it over to him, like on purpose. You know what I mean? I think a team would have confidence if he was their backup that he could go in and keep them in games and maybe win them some games. But I still think he would have to take a pretty big leap in order to be that guy that you're like, okay, he's a Devy chance at a start. Are going to get picked in the first 2 rounds. I think he's a late round QB right now. Like I said, love the upside, love him in deep leagues where you can stash him like on a taxi squad. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. No, I love that.
Question for you: would you rather have Altmaier or Mac Jones?
We already know Mac Jones is a bench guy, right?
Mm-hmm. I think he could be a Mac Jones type. You know what I mean? I think Mac Jones is better than Altmaier. I will tell you that. I think he is. So I definitely think he could be that guy that gets on a team where, like, in a Mac Jones situation where he's the backup, but like if he has to start, the team's like, oh, we're confident we can still win with him.
I've said this before, and it's probably on a show that I've done with both of y'all. I'm not sold on Alabama quarterbacks. I've never been sold on Alabama quarterbacks. They're quarterbacks that benefit from the talent around them. Mac Jones is one of those where it's just like, I just don't know if I see that there. Again, he's already a backup. He already lost his job. He started because the guy got injured. He's played lights out. But Tommy, you could be the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers and you're QB1 in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, so it's we know that system is really great for the players they have, especially at the quarterback position. Dump out to CFC, pass it out to Ricky Purcell pretty quick. All those quite things. You're not taking Altmaier in the first round. Mac Jones is going in the first round. But I think right now, I've already seen what Mac Jones can do in the NFL. It's not impressive. So I would say Altmaier, you take the upshot there, and hopefully he gets that time. But I mean,
if Mac Jones would have went to Illinois instead of Alabama, I think you would be maybe talking about him as the same as Altmaier. Like you're like, he's probably like a 5th round quarterback, maybe. A guy that could be a good backup. I think the fact that he went to Alabama and they just were, I mean, the amount of talent they had on that team was ungodly. So, I mean, I think if you take, Altmaier and you put Altmaier on Alabama with that group, I think you're like, oh, maybe he could be a 2nd round QB. You know what I mean? Right, so I think if you flip them schools, I think you could say they would probably be in similar situations if you actually flipped them.
Speaking of quarterback battles, I want to move into our next game here because it's Penn State number 7 versus UCLA. So my question here right now in Devy, Tommy, I'm going to say this to you because this was your boy. Who are you taking right now in Devy? Drew Aller or Nico Iamaleava?
Oh man, it's Aller. I don't even know. I don't even know if Nico's a Devy asset anymore.
Okay.
his move to UCLA kind of ruined his career, man. He kind of had it all in front of him while he was at Tennessee, and then just kind of left on a whim and went back home to LA, and now he's he's been the best part of UCLA, but that's not saying much because UCLA is terrible, man.
Right.
They lost last week to Northwestern. I mean, come on now.
UCLA is terrible. I mean, they cost me so much money last year because they were horrible last year, and they somehow backdoor covered against everyone. It was unbelievable to me. I still can't believe it. Nico, I have to be honest, I completely dropped him out of my top 75. Like, he's not even on my top 75 list. I was looking at it last night when I'm redoing my rankings. I was like, I'm looking at my QB group, and I'm like, can't be above that guy. Can't be above that guy. Can't be above that. The next thing I know, I'm like, shit, he's off my list. Dude, something is going to have to drastically change. He's obviously going to have to go to a different school, and they're going to have to and something's going to have to crazy change for him to get back in because UCLA is terrible. And it's just everything could go wrong has gone wrong in this situation with him going there and everything else.
Here's another question. Here's another question. If he were to leave UCLA, would Vanderbilt be a good spot for him with Diego Pavia leaving?
Talk about two guys with completely different makeups, like mentally, physically, the way they play the game. I mean, those guys are complete opposite ends of the spectrum. It would be interesting to see if he's there. I don't know if he fits.
The biggest thing is Pavia
culture.
Pavia has that dog in him. Like he has that grit. Like you see, he wants it. At this point, especially with the leave, like I don't know if Nico. Obviously, he wants it, right? I mean, I'm sure still dreaming of playing the NFL. But you just don't see that grit. Like he's not necessarily fighting like Pavia is at sometimes, right? Running or just playing the ball. Like he's throwing with determination. Like I'm gonna make sure my guys get it. I don't necessarily see that with Nico. He's not leading that team to something better. So
Nico feels like the Malachi Nelson situation, right? To me, it's like I went here to a little bit smaller school. Oh no, it keeps getting worse. It keeps getting worse. That's where I feel like Nico's at. I don't know if he transfers up.
He's gonna end up at Ferris State.
Hey, my
Thanks
brother
for joining, JB.
The Bulldogs, baby. But here's the thing: is Nico? I actually at this point, I think he's got to stay at UCLA because, honestly, I don't know if there's a move up for him right now.
So I threw this, or I saw someone tweet this. Dante Morgan's drafted the 101. Oregon hits the transfer portal, and they get Nico Imovia. What does that do?
Nothing for Oregon. That's terrible. That's awful, man. Just go with Achilles Smith Jr. at that point.
Fair. Or go get JKS back. But there you go. So we're out on Nico. That's the consensus here. We're out on Nico Imovia. Drew Allen still has some life in there. But speaking of Penn State, are we starting Katron Allen over Nick Singleton now?
That is a really, really weird type of dynamic there because you never know which guy it's going to be. One week it's a Katron Allen guy, or it's a Katron Allen week. The next week it's a Nick Singleton week. Right. You just don't know whose week it's going to be, as far as volume. Right. I could easily see where Katron Allen gets 16 carries this week, and Singleton gets 9. I could see it the opposite also. So it's a really weird dynamic there.
So with that, let me flip it around though. Is Katron Allen now closer in Devy rankings to Singleton, or is it still a dip between them?
I think there's a little bit of a gulf there, just because Singleton has a better athletic profile and much more. He's been much more efficient in the pass game also, where you really haven't seen that from Katron Allen. Allen kind of is much more of a just kind of an in between the tackles type of type of banger type of guy.
Right.
Where Singleton, you can get him in space and he can really he can make people pay that way.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree with Tommy on that one. I got Singleton still number 2. I know it's not been the breakout huge monster statistic year that we were hoping for because he is sharing a little time. I think it's very similar to Love and Price. I think Singleton, because the athletic profile, I still got him number 2. I actually have Katron Allen 12 in my RB rankings right now for Devy. I like Allen, but the athletic difference there at the NFL level, as I think, is the difference. When I look at Katron Allen, I think, oh man, remember Alfred Morris for the wire? I feel like Katron Allen could be Alfred Morris. He's like a good player. He's that grinder, a bigger dude who can be successful in the NFL, but like he's going to have to grind it out for the right team that just kind of pounds the ball with him. Where Singleton's can be a game breaker. You know, I think the biggest issue with Singleton is he needs to get on an NFL team that has a really good running backs coach, because it feels like he's still a really good athlete that isn't 100% confident on how to play running back, like the nuances of running back. And I think if he got on an NFL team with a good RB coach, I think you could see Singleton being really impressive. But again, we're still talking about a guy who's an elite athlete who's still kind of trying to figure out RB. But to me, at the NFL level, I think they both can be successful, but the talent level, like Tommy said, Singleton to Allen, I think is the big difference when you move up.
Yeah, I mean, yes, maybe a little bit of a hot take, but I'd rather have a guy like, maybe not a hot take, but Jonah Coleman. I'd rather have him over both of them.
I don't think that's a hot take anymore.
Yeah, I would actually almost even lean towards a guy like Bryson Washington, Damon Claiborne, something like that. Also,
Claiborne, I would say, is probably a hot take, but Bryson Washington too. But Claiborne's
I moved Coleman up to 3 in my rankings that I set up last night. I've got him right behind Singleton, and I have to tell you, I was like right there. I'm like, I thought about putting Coleman right ahead of Singleton. I still think they're right next to each other, but I've got Singleton at 2 and I got Coleman at 3 right now.
For those tuning in, every Monday we drop the Devy Times. It's the newspaper you need to read. Tom Harvey gives his top 5 Heisman finalists, and we have stories, top headlines from the previous week. We also have our top 25 Devy players on there. And right now, Jonah Coleman is our RB1 right now when it comes to it. So just keep in mind, every Monday you'll see a story, but then Tuesday you'll see the actual articles going. The Devy Times, the paper you need to read. So we'll have it. Jonah Coleman's phenomenal. I think he's going to do great things. But speaking of running backs, we're going into Texas number 9 versus Florida. This is going to be a phenomenal matchup. I have a lot of questions for this matchup. First one, I do think Trey Weiser is healthy. Is that correct? What's going on, Dougie Fresh? Thanks for joining in. Trey Weiser, last I saw, is he played? I know he was banged up because I did have Jared Gibson or Jaden Ball. If Trey Weiser plays, I think he's the starter. But right now, Jared Gibson or Jaden Ball. JT, I'll ask you.
I'm not. I was trying to look and see if Weisner was playing or not for 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure, but and who you said between which two guys?
Jared Gibson for Texas or Jaden Ball for Florida?
I think I'm going Ball for Florida just because they have struggled on offense. I think they got to give him a lot of carries. I think he's got to get touches if Florida's going to stay in this game. They're going to have to run the ball well. So I'm going to lean a little more on him because I think Florida has to lean on him. So would – I think Texas wins this game, and I think their offense is going to be better, but I think they can go multiple areas to get production. I think Florida has that ball, play well, or they're in trouble.
So you agree? Ball over Gibson?
Yeah, mainly because even if Weisner doesn't play, I'm not sure that Gibson's the guy. I think James Simon could potentially be. But with JT here, if Florida's going to stay in this game, they're going to have to run the ball. They're not going to be able to throw, mainly just because of the Texas pass rush is just going to be suffocating. And with Trey Moore and Simmons, and it could get ugly really quickly for Lagway if he's forced to throw the ball. So they're going to have to use Jaden Ball pretty heavily.
My next question then, speaking of it being ugly, Parker Livingstone or Vernell Brown? Tommy, I'll let you handle that one.
Can I say neither?
I was going to say the same thing, Tommy. I'm like, do I have to?
I guess Vernell Brown, you know what I think about Parker Livingston. He's not a good mover. He's just kind of a tall, 50-50 ball type of guy.
Sure.
And Florida's defense is actually pretty good. So I mean, I guess if you're picking out the two, I'm gonna say Vernell Brown just because Lagway. If Lagway can get the ball out of his hands pretty quickly, Vernell Brown should be that target there.
So with that, I will say our guy Tommy Dallas Wilson is off the injury report. Where we don't know what his snap share will be, what he'll be on the field. We've been talking about it that maybe he's the key. Maybe the offense of Florida opens up with a playmaker like Dallas Wilson now out there. We know he had a big spring game. Could this be what they needed? Dallas Wilson just hitting the field to give them the boost they need. But with that, I'm gonna pivot to this question now. Instead of the wide receiver, is JT LSU. Is there a chance that Arch Manning and DJ Lagway are the QB1 of their class, or QB1 and QB2?
Man, I have to be honest. I feel like I get hated on this, but I know Lagway has all the tools. I just can't get behind him right now, man. He is plummeting in my Devy ranks. If I had him, I don't have him in a lot of Devy spots. If I did, I'd be trying to move him right now to see if I could get like quality people in return. It just, to me, it feels like that situation of a guy's got all the tools. It should work out. It just never comes together. I'm very hesitant on him right now. I'm Arch Manning over him the whole way. To me, this Arch Manning season is not surprising. I know that seems crazy because everybody's like, oh, no, he's the QB. I'm like, dude, it's going to take some time. They have a tough schedule, too. I'm like, there's no way he's just going to come out and be throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns every week. I'm like, it's just not going to happen. So I'm still in on Arch. If anybody's panicking, like, trade me your Arch shares. I'll take him. I'll take him. I still like him. I still think if you're playing for a start, you got to start Manning over Lagway right now with just the mess that Florida's offense has been. Sark. The one thing about Sark is he's going to at least put Manning in good positions, to succeed. So at least I feel confident that he's getting coached up really well there, where I can't necessarily say I feel the same at Florida.
The question with Arch, though, is he taking those opportunities and actually succeeding, which I feel at times is not necessarily happening.
I think he's missed on opportunities. I think you're right. I think he's getting put in good situations. He's not necessarily taking advantage yet this year. Yeah. But I do see the process of where he can get better at that, and it's gonna get better. It's just a learning curve, I think.
If anybody can, if there's anybody out there who can teach Arch to be a good quarterback, it's Sark. But I mean, this is his 3rd year there, and he's still not a good quarterback. So, is he ever going to be? Whereas Lagway, it's like you could say Lagway's issue is that horrendous vanilla Florida offense that Billy Napier just won't give up play calling on. Right. So I mean, I think that issue is coaching. The Arch Manning issue, I just think it's Arch Manning.
Do you think it's possible that we see a fall like we saw in Shadeur with Arch, where he just drops out the first? I wouldn't say go as far as day 3, but he drops out the first, and then next thing you know, he's not in the second, but he's a 3rd-round quarterback.
It's possible. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, just because the Shador issue was attitude and ego and stuff like that. Whereas Arch doesn't have that problem. His problem is people are going to look at Arch and be like, oh well, he's got skills, he's got traits, so they'll probably take a chance on him. And if Dylan Gabriel can be a 3rd-round pick, then Arch can be a 1st-round pick. You look at the traits there, and it's not even comparable. But
send Arch to Oregon, he'll be the number 1 pick.
Sure, but and even then,
all right.
Even then, I don't know, because if he can't become a good quarterback under Sark, is there a chance for him?
True. Touche. Will Stein's a mastermind, though. I'll say that. But I think that's gonna be a question we're gonna be talking about next year because I mean, there's still a year, right? We could take this year off for Lagway Arch. That's gonna be a question. I mean, you brought Shoresby, right? As I mentioned, Rayola, Sellers, those guys that do have potential, that do have heavy ranks as well, could jump in. Maybe Julian Sane even. Julian Sane has a great season and goes out and balls again next year. It's possible. So a lot of questions for it. I know this QB class is deep, but next year's class is looking nice as well. Speaking of QBs, let's move on to our next game. Vanderbilt number 16 versus Alabama number 10. We already mentioned him before, but would you rather start Pavia or Simpson? JT, I'll ask you.
Oh, that's a tough one. My Vandy boys, I just actually this morning conferred with my cousin. He's a Vandy alum, lives in
Nice.
Nashville. We're going to the Mizzou Vandy game here in a couple weeks, so
Nice.
pumped
Shout out
about
to Bob
that
Harden.
one. So hopefully both these teams can keep winning, and it will be a freaking huge matchup. Oh, man. Oh, it's so hard to not take Pavia just because he does a little bit everything. He's just such a dog, man. You just gotta love that guy. I remember doing a podcast a couple years ago and talking about him when he's at New Mexico State and being like, this guy transferred in from a JUCO. He's a tough kid. He's a guy to keep an eye on for CFF purposes. I never thought we'd get to here, to be honest with you. I was like, I like this kid. I was like, I think he could be a really good CFF player. I never thought we'd get to him at Vandy, resurrecting Vandy. It's insane. Right. If you have a league where rushing is bonuses, a little more rushing for QB, I'm paying Pavia because he's got your upside there. Simpson's not really going to bring that to you. But I like Ty Simpson a lot. One of my buddy's son is a freshman at University of Tennessee Martin, where his dad is the head coach. Ty Simpson's dad's the head coach. Nice. He got to practice and work out with Ty Simpson this summer. He told me, he's like, Ty Simpson's legit awesome. His son was like, this guy is so good. He's so good. So I told people in the house, I was like, man, I think Simpson wins that job. I know they got some studs down there. But I know that was a long story of me making 87 and 20 things there. So sorry about that. I'm probably going Simpson. Fair. Unless I get a league that's a little more, I can get bonus points for rushing. Like then I'm probably leaning Pavia because I think he's got the upside for the total yards.
I will say, you always have great stories. You know, a lot of people there. It seems like every game we talk about, you're always like, oh, I know this guy because of this. You know, so you know a lot of people. That just shows your welcome attitude, right? You know how to communicate and talk to people. So I love it, JT. There, Tommy, I'll let you answer that question as well. But I also want to ask you, Eli Stowers or Jeremy Bernard, before we get to JB's question, which is a pretty interesting one. But Eli Stowers or Jeremy Bernard, and then you could answer the Pavia Simpson if you want.
I'm going both Simpson and Bernard here, mainly because Simpson's looked really good over the last couple weeks. You know, that first game, against Florida State was terrible. He looked awful in it, but ever since then he's looked really, really good. And even last week against Georgia, he looked like a high-end college quarterback. He looked like a high-end Devy quarterback. And with guys like Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard, I mean, those weapons are just fantastic. And you kind of you add in the quote unquote revenge factor, for that game today, and it being in Tuscaloosa, I'm gonna lean Simpson and Bernard pretty heavily.
Okay, fair. I love it.
Yeah, I think Tommy makes a good point. The fact that it's in Tuscaloosa, dude, Vandy to win back-to-back games over Alabama would just be insanity. So while I think it's a good story, I think he's right. I think it's gonna be rocking there. If it was in Nashville, I think I might go Pavia. But like I said, I think I'm going Simpson unless you have a higher upside rushing factor for like bonus points than I go Pavia. But I think Simpson at home, I think Alabama's going to end up looking pretty good today.
Fair. I love it. That'll be a good one. At Simpson's looking nice. Jamie did ask thoughts on adding Kent State plus 58 to parlay versus Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to say, you're going to take anyone with a 59 point, with a 59-point victory. So definitely lean Kent State with a plus 58.5 there. Plus,
I looked at
I'm
that.
I'm not sure Oklahoma's going to score 60 either. So
that's why I thought the same thing because I saw that bet and I thought the same thing, Jamie. Me and Jamie we are on the same length on betting a lot of times. I looked at that bet and I was like, man, usually I'd be all over Oklahoma, but no Mateer. Like, I'm like, ooh, this new QB break. I'm like, I know Kent State's bad, but I'm like, I don't know if Oklahoma can put up 60. I think they roll this
Michael
game,
Hawkins,
but I can see 42-3. So. Yeah, I think it could be 42-3, something like that. 58.5 is a ton. I wouldn't put a ton on in the parlay, but I would consider going Kent State 58.5, though I have been burned by Oklahoma before. I did take them against Oklahoma. Texas A&M, this is a long time ago, but it was like a 45-point spread when I used to work at the newspaper and was in the newspaper, and I think Oklahoma won 77-7. We got a lot of emails and phone calls that next week about me taking Texas A&M to cover like 35 or 40 points, and they lost by 70. So it has burned me before, but I do
it's
think
possible.
You can lean into I think you can lean into Kent State, even though they're pretty terrible.
So let's so guys, we still have a few here. Boise State had the RB1 last year at Aston Gency, at least draft wise. Is Notre Dame Jeremiah Love gonna be the RB1 of this class when it's all said and done? Do we agree with that?
I'm not sure. I mean, Justice Haynes could come out. I mean, to me, he's got better measurables, better traits. I think he could push Jeremiah Love.
I think Jonah Coleman's possible too.
Jonah Coleman's possible too. Yeah.
I know people.
I
Jonah
still
Coleman
have love for now, but
yeah. Coleman doesn't get the love, that Jeremiah Love does, pun intended. But I think that's a pretty close three-way race. And even if Bryson Washington came out this year, you're looking at 4 running backs there who could potentially be RB1.
Be looking good. Now, Virginia number 24 plays Louisville. Do we care for Pharrell Harris or Chris Bell in this? As far as Devy, I'll say.
I've seen Chris Bell moving up some lists. He had a huge game last week. Week. I've got him in a couple spots. I'm playing him this week. I also have Miller Moss in a couple spots where I'm like a ton of guys on bye week this week, so I've got him in there. I was going to ask you guys that same thing. Are you feeling Chris Bell a little more? He's got my attention after last week. He's been a little bit of a disappointment there. But a couple other guys over at DLF are kind of high on him and have him up pretty high in their rankings. I was like eyeing him. I'm like, I'm not sold just yet on him being a Devy asset. I do like him as a play this week, though.
He's always been on the radar. As far as a Devy asset, there's quite a few wide receivers that take it over him. I will say, though, Chris Bell hits that mold of one of those wide receivers you can't see sneaking into day 2. A coach just likes him and they take him in round 3, kind of that. But at the same time, if he does it, it's not like I'm like, oh, they missed out, right? So I do see him on the radar. He has opportunity, but there is still progressions that need to be made for him to be fully on my Devy, like top 50.
I've got him in my wide receiver rankings for Devy. I've got him sandwiched in between Cyrus Allen and Colby Young. So that kind of,
Yeah. Nothing big there. We route Kent State and Oklahoma, which is number 5. We did say Mateer's out, but my question is, Mateer's done enough already? Is he going to be a first-round quarterback in this next class? Tom, I'll just ask you.
Probably so. I mean, he's proven that he can play against high-end defenses. So yeah, I mean, not only play against them, but play well against them. Played well against Michigan, played well against Oklahoma, and even proved his toughness. Played with a broken hand against, for most of that game against Auburn. So I would say so. I mean, the NFL's kind of moved away from having to have that prototypical 6'4", 6'5" type of frame.
Right.
I mean,
he's
mobile. Yeah. I mean, 6'1" and mobile. I mean, yeah, kind of reminds me a little bit of Baker.
Okay.
A little bit
grit to him.
Yeah, a little bit of grit to him. Exactly.
So, JT, instead of that question, I'm going to pivot to his wide receiver. Is Deion Burks worth rostering in Devy leagues?
Man, I feel like I'm lower on Deion Burks than almost everybody. I just can't. Every year it's like, okay, this is a year he's gonna explode. Oh no, Deion Burks. I haven't seen it yet, man. To me, I'm not rostering him personally. If somebody else likes him and I have him, I would be more than willing to move him for almost anything, to be honest with you. But I don't love him, man. I just don't see it. We've seen Oklahoma wide receivers who have absolutely crushed at the college level and still really couldn't make that transition to the NFL very well. He hasn't crushed. I'm just not sold, man.
Fair.
This should have been the year with Mateer. He should be absolutely just lighting it up with him, and he's been okay. I don't see it, man. I just don't see it.
He's doing good, but I don't know if he's necessarily Devy.
Well,
yeah,
smaller guy with durability issues. I'm out on him.
Right.
A lot like Isaac Brown. Smaller guy, durability issues. Don't like him.
Fair. Now, Texas Tech number 11 does play against Houston. Braham Morton or Connor Wyman? JT, I'll ask you that question. Texas Tech versus Houston.
I will say Wyman's looked better this year. When he was one of those guys when he was at Texas A&M, I felt like another one. I feel like I'm bashing guys. I usually never bash guys, but I was like totally out on Wyman when he was at Texas A&M. Everybody's like, "Oh no, he's gonna be." I was like, "Man, I don't know. I don't believe it." He's looked better in Houston. Right. I don't think he's looked good enough to really push the needle and move the ranks at all.
Right.
So I'm probably just because. Man, Texas Tech, dude, they've got the money. I don't know if you guys seen that YouTube video or on somebody posted on X where they basically went around the whole facility. That freaking facility is amazing at Texas Tech. Holy crap, I would go there in 5 seconds if they recruited me. So just because I think that team is going to keep adding talent, I like Morton. So I'm going Morton for me.
There, do you agree, Tommy?
Is Morton 100% playing today?
Last I checked, he was off the injury report.
Okay. Then I'd go Morton. And even on the other side, even if Morton wasn't playing, I'd go Will Hammond.
Okay, fair. So you're out on Wyman. Fair enough. We got 3 more games before we hit off at the top of the hour here with the kickoffs at 9 a.m. So let's get into them. Minnesota versus Iowa State, who is number 1. Darius Taylor, it was questionable. I don't know if he's officially out. That's a big one though, but I feel that's been the issue for him this whole time. Is we talked about his injuries and him staying healthy, so it kind of drops him down, right? So without Darius Taylor, we all agree we're dropping him down. Is Bo Jackson a must start though at this point?
Probably.
I love Bo Jackson, man. I love Bo Jackson. I missed on him in a couple drafts this year, and I was like getting ready to pull the trigger, and almost everybody got him right in front of me. It was like the 1 pick or 2 picks in front of me. I missed on him in a bunch. I love Bo Jackson. I think he is screaming up boards, man. I think he's screaming up boards, dude. They've got talent at Ohio State, and the fact that he's a true freshman showing out against some of these other guys, I'm playing him in CFF, but in Devy, I want all the Bo Jackson I can get.
I had a buddy in the C2C supplemental draft say he was taking Bo, and I was like, I'm out on Bo. I like some other freshmen over him, and he proved me wrong, so I love it. But I will say this is more Bo Jackson from the old Raiders. Yep, he's playing. Was it the Chad Powers? He went back to college and he's there. So he's like I'm Bo Jackson.
Well, Bo's got a great name, Lamar Bo Jackson.
Yeah, so. There's something that there's greatness there in general. Like it's in his name, it's in his blood. But my open-ended question here: will Jeremiah Smith be dethroned as a top Devy player? That's just for any of y'all. Do you see it happening at all? Is he dethroned? Whether it be anyone here or someone from the next class, is there a possibility of him being dethroned as top Devy player?
I don't see anybody who can challenge him.
JT, anyone? No,
nope.
He's top.
Nope. Okay. He's the guy, man. He's an absolute beast. He's one of those guys. I just can't see
Jeremiah Smith and everybody else.
I just can't see anybody that is going to come up to that. He is just an absolute freaking stud. At this point, I don't think people even look at the stats. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They're like, this guy. And literally, barring injury. Injury is the only thing I think that knocks him down, really, to be honest with you.
So going into our next game here, Miami number 3 versus Florida State number 18. This is a great one. Carson Beck versus Tommy Castellanos. Who are we taking in this matchup, Beck or Tommy? Tommy, who do you think?
CFF, I'm probably taking Castellanos, honestly. Much more. He has much more of a rushing upside. Matter of fact, that's basically where he's going to get you, and he's been pretty efficient throwing the ball this season too.
Right.
Deuce Robinson has really turned back into a Devy prospect, mainly because of Castellanos. So, I'm going to take Castellanos in this matchup.
JT, you agree?
The only thing that scares me with Castellanos is because of the way they do the college scoring with sacks. I'm worried that's going to kill his rushing upside because we know Ruben Bain, baby. I was just talking to somebody today. I was like, dude, I was like, do you think QB is going number 1 in the draft? I'm like, I think that has to be just because that's the NFL. But I'm like, I tell you what, they were showing draft odds for number 1 pick. And I was like, the Ruben Bain for like plus 1,500 is looking real juicy. He looks so good. That's my worry is Castellanos is he gets home and that they really put the pressure on him. He ends up taking quite a few sacks and it kills the rushing upside. That's my one worry.
I'll have to go back through our message, JT, but I'm pretty sure last year you were asking about some IDP guys, and I was like, Ruben Bain's the guy you gotta get. And sure
I got him. I'm playing in that league. I got him. So I have one CFF league that plays 3 defensive guys, IDP guys. So I was like, man, who's a couple guys you like that I could get out there? And yeah, you were like, oh, Ruben Bain. I'm like, boom. Sold. So he's in there. He's in my starting lineup. That's also why I want him to get home a couple times. I could use the points in one of my leagues. I'm hoping he comes away with like 2.5 sacks today and a forced fumble.
Now, Tommy, you did bring up Deuce Robinson. Would you rather have Deuce Robinson or Malachi Tony?
Deuce Robinson. I do like Malachi Tony, but Deuce Robinson with that size and his ability, he's a freak athlete, man. And the fact that he's 6'5", 6'6".
Right.
And moves well. It's not like he's Kelvin Benjamin out there who just kind of, who runs like a baby.
Who was the Florida State guy? Oh, Johnny Wilson.
Johnny Wilson. Yeah. Kelvin Benjamin, those guys weren't good movers. Deuce Robinson's a really good mover.
Got it. And then I'll leave this one to you, JT. Mark Fletcher or Gavin Sawchuk?
I'm going with Fletcher. I just like Fletcher as a player better. So I'm leaning into him. I like Fletcher. I still think he's kind of underrated. There's a ton of good guys out there, but it's almost like Damian Martinez last year at Miami. I felt like people kind of forgot about him a little bit. I'm like, man, he's still really good. I think Fletcher's really good. So he's a guy I think is underrated.
Well, Shamar Brown's been good, and they also Jordan Lyle's off the injury report too, so it might be a 3-headed monster that they're running out there. Tell me on your question, that's CFF or is that Devy with the Deuce Robinson and Malachi Tony?
Both.
Fair. Now our last one.
Dude, how was that not a catch? By the way, I know I was on the last show with you. That Deuce Robinson and that OT, I still can't believe they called that back and they didn't give him a catch in that Florida State game. That was bonkers, man. What concentration to pull that in! I can't believe they robbed him of that catch.
Dude, it's good. These Deuce Robinson's one of those guys where it benefited him to transfer out, right? We can't really say about Zachariah Brandt. We talk about his explosiveness and he has it, but Zachariah Brandt hasn't really done enough to be like, oh, you're a top wide receiver I'm gonna take. You're a wide receiver that, hey, if I need a 50-yard touchdown, I'll bank on you to get it. But at the same time, that's not a guaranteed thing, but it's more likely than other wide receivers there. So
the crazy thing with Deuce, he actually transferred out and playing with a worse quarterback, but is actually better. If that's, that's the crazy. I think that's what also has people intrigued is he transferred to a probably slightly worse situation, and now it seems like better because he's not playing with as talented of a quarterback, but he's actually the guy that looks the best.
Well, and that's always been the kind of phenomenon with Georgia is that they don't. I mean, what highly productive wide receiver did they put out there other than Ladd McConkey? I mean, you say George
and
Pickens,
even he was banged up there. George Pickens was there. He was banged up there. You're right. But, getting any of those
Julio
guys
was Alabama,
Julio's
AJ Green. AJ Green, legit,
but that was what 10, 12 years ago,
15 years ago. Yeah. I think you're right on that. It's all kinds of talent, but it just doesn't seem like those guys end up getting better or like at least show out for Georgia.
Right.
So our last game on the slate there is Mississippi State versus Texas A&M, who is number 6. I've already said Texas A&M is the best Texas school in the SEC. Fluff Balwa or Le'Veon Moss. JT, I'll let you start because I think I know where Tommy might lead, but Fluff Balwa or Le'Veon Moss.
Oh man, it's a toughie. Fluff's moving up my rankings. I do like Le'Veon Moss coming back for the injury. He's looking good. I do think he's going to keep getting better. I think he's another guy that is slightly underrated because, again, we had all the Reuben Owens hype, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, he's going to be like he's not going to count for." Right now, just because I think Texas A&M is a better team, if for playing purposes, because I think they're going to be up. CFF, I'm taking Moss and Devy. I'm probably it's closer for me and Devy. I'm slightly ahead for Moss right now.
Moss has always been an injury concern for me, but Tommy, where do you lean?
CFF, I'm going with Moss, especially for today, just because Mississippi State's line of scrimmage just isn't very good.
Sure.
But for Devy purposes, I'm taking Bothwell. The guy's 230 pounds, and the way he moves is unbelievable, for that size. And he showed last week that he is a legit running back. Playing against Tennessee, and actually, I'm going to put Texas A&M on upset watch today.
That's fair. I could agree. I mean, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt. We can't say it like they're undefeated, but Mississippi State's one of those teams that they're going to upset top teams.
And we're going to see how headstrong they are today, coming off that loss last week, that overtime loss last week. Where their heads at? If they're in this game early, then they're. Then they're going to have a chance to pull off the upset. 16.5 is a big number.
I was just going to say, 16.5 seemed huge to me. I was like, man, I'm buying half a point and taking Mississippi State plus 17 in this one, and throwing that in a parlay.
Just as the kickoff started, I have one last question for us on this game day. We've already talked about Nico Lavia dropped in our Devy rankings, possibly just out of our Devy rankings. My question then is, are we taking Marcel Reed over Nico Lavia?
Yeah.
Even in Devy?
Marcel Reed reminds me a lot of Kyler Murray. Small guy, but the way he moves, smaller. Really, he's slider. He's not shorter, but he's slider.
Right.
But yeah, the way he moves and the way, I mean, he's reading defenses really well, and can actually throw the ball pretty decently too. Right. I'm taking Marcel Reed.
There, JT, you agree with that? Are we completely out on Nico?
Yep, I am. I take Reed.
There you go. Reed's looking nice. A&M's looking nice. It's number 6 overall, as we mentioned. There's going to be some top matchups here. Tommy said there is upset alert for Mississippi State to upset number 6 Texas A&M. JT, do you have an upset alert to watch?
Ooh, who was my big one today? I was just looking and trying to think about my bets because I went through and put my bets on last night. Who was the big one?
Is Vanderbilt beat Alabama upset alert?
I think Bama wins today. Like I said, that would be insane if they got 2 in a row there. Who was? Oh, I'm sorry, man. I wish I had it on top of my head. There was somebody I like Tommy's call on that one with Mississippi State though being in that game.
Maybe Iowa State over Cincinnati because
I have Iowa State. Cincinnati. I don't know if it's a gigantic upset because it's pretty close as far as the spread. But I was going to say that I'm actually on them in that game. I actually think Iowa State wins that one over Cincy, even though Cincy's looked better so far this year. I think Iowa State comes out on that one.
Let me say this because I've been preaching it all season. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Upset alert, Florida beats Texas. Dallas Wilson does something different with the Florida offense. Let's go ahead and see it happen. This is what we've been waiting for. Since Dallas Wilson comes in and he has his spring games. The offense looks completely different. And here we go. Let's go Florida. That's going to be the bold take of the day there. For JT, I'll let you go and say where people can find you before we head out.
Yeah, you can find me Tuesday nights, if you're a hockey fan. I do Around the Ice on Fantasy and Frames. Hockey season just around the corner. We're doing a live show on Tuesday for the kickoff of hockey season for anybody that's a hockey fan. Yep.
Which I will be hitting you up because I've already hit you up on some of them before, but we do have our hockey league going on where it's like me and my co are like, we have no idea who these guys are, but I was like, don't worry, I got a guy that knows some guys. So I'll definitely hit you up.
I'm a guy that knows some guys that know more than me. So I'll pass the info along to you. We got a buddy that we always laugh at our draft. He has to do all the names because he's the only one who can get the names right because I butcher all the Russian guys' names and everybody's names all the time. Yes, so you can find me there on Wednesday nights on Fantasy and Frames. If you're into IDP, I do the Shoot the Gap show, and we do a Dynasty 365 show once a month on Wednesday nights. So you can find me over there on Fantasy and Frames. And if you're reading articles, looking at rankings, all that stuff, I'm over on DLF, Dynasty League Football. You can find my top 150 IDP rankings and my top 75 Devy rankings. I also do right now have my 2026 mock draft first round fantasy mock draft and my 2027 early fantasy mock draft. Some guys I put on there that people I had Jonah Coleman in the first round on that, I think, before anyone. So that came out about 4 weeks ago, and I had him at 112, and I think he might be moving up. So go ahead and jump over there and you can check that out.
There you go. Tommy, you just updated the Devy rankings for Dynasty Trade Calculator. Want to plug that real quick?
Yeah, head on over to Dynasty Trade Calculator. We have about 215 guys in there right now, with values. I just updated all of them the other day. So go check those out. If you have any questions, you can use that as a tool with your trades.
Right. And use promo code DGEN on that, DEGEN, to get your first month free for Dynasty Trade Calculator. Definitely a true asset to have, especially when you're in these Devy leagues trying to find out their value. For everyone at the FFU, for our guy Adjusted Ranks, Jeremy Stolman doing his thing, our Dynasty Dogs, Mike and Rich doing theirs, Jesse, who's on our roundtables that's happening later today, as well as our Start Sit Show, which is happening tomorrow. Give you all the tools you need for your fantasy football Sunday lineups as well. For the DJs, shout out Devy DJs. Monday, we're actually doing our Devy prospect, true or false, if we're thinking they are a Devy prospect or not. And then this Wednesday on our Devy Planet, we are doing our 2-round Devy mock draft, or rookie mock draft, for the 2026 class. So make sure you're tuning out for that. But for everyone in the FFU, for our guy JT and the steward JT Brew, and for my guy Tom Hari, who you'll see with me on Monday, hope you have a great week. Good luck at your tadpole bowls and good luck for college football, and go enjoy some games. We'll see y'all next time.
FFU.